Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are playing Venusaur, one of the three starters first introduced in Generation 1. So today we've got Venusaur. We've got a base stats of 80 in HP, 82 in attack, 83 in defense, 80 in special. Oh, I'm sorry, 100 in special and 80 in speed for a total of 425. One of the starters, grass, poison. Fun fact, not really a fun fact, but interestingly, Charizard and Venusaur have dual typings, but Blastoise does not. I think they might have missed a little bit with that one. It's not uniform, and that kind of bothers me. But anyway, we got Venusaur today. Now looking at our move pool, nothing crazy. We're starting off with Tackle, Growl, Leech Seed, and Vine Whip. And we don't really learn a whole lot through level up that'll be too particularly useful. But that's okay. We've got type advantages against the first two gym leaders. I think the major point of contention really is going to be when we get to Agatha for sure. Because looking at our move pool, we have really nothing to use against Agatha. We don't have anything. So normal attacks aren't going to be effective at all. They don't affect ghost types. I have Swords Dance, but what is that gonna do if I can't use anything like Body Slam, Hybrid Beam, Double Edge, or Takedown? I do get access to Growth. However, you gotta keep in mind that the grass type is resisted by the ghost type's poison typing. So all of Agatha's Pokemon are poison types, so it's going to be a bit tough getting through her. I think that'll be the biggest kind of, not even necessarily wall, but it'll be the biggest challenge for Venusaur since it has no other coverage on its end. It's actually funny, it doesn't get access to any poison type attacks, just poison, powder, and toxic. But anyway, that's a little bit of a breakdown on Venusaur. I'm excited for this run, so let's head over to Brock's gym. Let's take him on. This should be very easy. Alright, Brock League's Venusaur. Good one. Brock League's Geodude. I'm just going to go Vine Whip. I think Vine Whip just one-shots both of them. And that's an easy victory. I mean, what really was there to expect? I mean, super effective damage, quad effective damage actually in the grass typing. So, I mean, that was I probably shouldn't even have shown that, to be honest. I mean, what was there to see? And it's kind of going to be the same story for Misty. Venusaur is going to get a 33 out of 33 on that fight, and we're just going to make our way over to Cerulean City. There really isn't much to touch on in between fights here. So we're just going to finish cleaning up this route. Venusaur will look strong through like the entire first half of the game. So I really don't have anything to worry about. So let's finish getting through Mount Moon. Head over to Cerulean City. Take on Misty. Okay, kind of the same story as Brock. We're just going to go Vine Whip. Not going to get the one-shots here, but there's also nothing that Misty can really hit me with that's going to do a ton of damage. So I'm just going to go ahead, come in here, and just use Vine Whip until I win. I did set up Leech Seed. Didn't really need to, but, you know, it helped me feel secure in this victory. So coming out of Misty, still another perfect score for Venusaur, 33 out of 33. Looking very good in the early game, and that's not really going to change. Now that I'm heading over to Surge, we're going to come clear out Nugget Bridge here. But now that I'm heading over to Surge, I still don't have anything to worry about. Surge and his electric typing is resisted by grass. So still really no threats here, really until we get to Koga and Sabrina. And even then, I still don't think we'll have any issues because we will have a way to get through those fights without them causing us any problems. So I don't think we're really going to see struggles until like deeper in the late game. Maybe Blaine might give us some trouble with his fire typings, but let's go ahead and clean up Surge real quick. To be honest, there might not ever be a time where Surge truly gives me any trouble. The fact that he has bad AI really doesn't make him challenging. He also only has one Pokemon. That's an interesting decision, one that you don't really see anywhere in the later generations, but there's Surge out of the way, 29 out of 29 for our score. So now we can go pick up our bike, head back to Vermilion, and we can start making our way towards Celadon City, Lavender Town and Celadon City, where we can take on Erica. We can also, once we get to Celadon City, we can progress the Rocket plot line far enough for us to get access to Swords Dance. And really, that may not play an immediate role, but it might. The only thing I can really use Swords Dance for is Body Slam and Hyper Beam, which is okay, but I don't know. Anyway, let's take on Erica. Nothing to worry about here. Just gonna go Body Slam. It's gonna be a really straightforward fight. Not really any particular strategy to really highlight. Now I do get Razor Leaf here, and I really was thinking about it because there's really no good move to use Growth with, to be completely honest, because Razor Leaf's not affected. It critical hits on every single turn. So there might, however, be a niche use for Razor Leaf later on down the line that I may be able to use this, make good use of it. So I think Razor Leaf could actually be a pretty good move to keep for the current point in time. Now it does have 95 accuracy, not a huge deal, won't make too huge of a difference. But going into Koga, now he's got his bug poison types, so essentially really all we have to use is Body Slam. It's going to be another straightforward fight. Unfortunately, there's just not too much strategy to it, but that's okay. These runs aren't about, strategy and how to get through fights. They're about analyzing the Pokemon and how well they do in the games. So let's see how well Venusaur does against Koga. The only thing I'm worried about here against Koga is a Psychic type attacks. As you can see, first Venonat doesn't do too much, but I do get a special drop. Now, if you can see on my moveset here, I did learn Growth, so I decided it would probably be a good idea to go ahead and set this up just so I can mitigate the damage I'm going to be receiving from Psychic. I mean, the Venomoth has the highest special stat, and while Venonats, if we take a look at these Venonats, their stats are really not that good in comparison to Venomoth. So the Venomoth is quite scary. I'm not too scared of the Venomoth or the Venonats, but I did want to make sure to set up some Growth just so that I could tank some hits from Venomoth. And as you see, we do more than half. And the Growth, we probably could have tanked 2 Psychics unless it got a critical hit, but that was a little bit of a strategy to get past Koga. That was good use of Growth there because I have to use it defensively more so than offensively because I don't really have any offensive options that will utilize my special stat. So currently we're using mostly our attack stat, but if looking here, they're still pretty close. I mean, they're only 1 point off at this current point in time, so that's not too bad. Now in the Sabrina, we can make use of our attack stat. And even though we're still not going to be using Swords, the good thing is here that I do outspeed all of her Pokemon which means that I should be doing favorable damage. I one-shot the first two, and I get a critical hit on Alakazam. So in a case where you probably are at a type disadvantage, being faster and having a decent attack stat just gets you by the fight pretty easily. I mean, you just trivialized a gym leader that should have had a type advantage against you. But, you know, if you can just outspeed this Pokemon, they're very frail, so you don't really have much to fear there. Okay, now coming into Blaine, I'm going to set up some growth so I can maybe try to mitigate some of this fire type damage that his Pokemon can deal out. Mainly just the Ninetales and the Arcanine, especially with those super effective stab, flamethrower, and fire blast. But as you can see here, getting hit by critical hit just completely negates that, and I go down to Rapidash. So I'm still going to come in with the same strategy. However, I need to make sure I don't get burned because Body Slam is my only option here. So if I do get burned, that significantly reduces my attack, and that's going to make this fight a lot harder, even with paralysis. So getting past Ninetales, we're at 81 HP in orange, not looking too good. We do take a little bit of damage from Fire Spin off the Rapidash. Arcanine comes out. We go for Body Slam. Don't quite get the paralysis, but we do manage to survive a Fire Blast after using those uses of growth, and that does help us get through this fight due to the fact that Arcanine was 2-hit range, so that was really good coming out of Venusaur. We actually didn't do that bad, didn't struggle that badly against Blaine, so Venusaur is still looking pretty good. I don't think we've lost any points on any gym leaders, which is really good. Now, coming into Giovanni, this should be pretty trivial. I do have Razor Leaf, which I will still be using even against his Nidos, because it's just the best option. Dugtrio's first from all is pretty speedy. I am still faster, so we're going to take it down with Razor Leaf, and honestly I think we just Razor Leaf all of his Pokemon. It's nice that this move critical hits like Slash does on every turn, but even without that I still think it would probably be our best move. It is same type, and it does good damage against all his Pokemon. Now, it's only not super effective against the Nidos, as they do have the poison typing, which makes it neutral and not super effective. But that's okay, they don't do any significant damage to us, and Rhydon is just going to go down with that effective 631 power Razor Leaf. Like, you're not surviving that. You're just not going to. So now we've made it through all the gym leaders. No point deductions whatsoever. We still have a perfect score. However, we do have the Elite Four coming up, and you know the Elite Four tend to give Pokemon a lot of trouble. These are trainers in a different class, or in a different, they're on a different level. So first we have Lorelei, and we do have a weakness to ice types. Will that be a problem? Okay, now here's where I said Razor Leaf might come in handy. Now, this is going to do really good against Lorelei because she does have water types. 4 of her Pokemon are water type, and the only Pokemon I'm really worried about here is Jinx. I don't have super effective damage against the Jinx, and it knows Ice Punch can do a lot of damage, can also upside for a freeze. Now, we don't quite get the one hit, and looky there, we get frozen on the very first try. So we're going to reset, come back in. I think we have no problems with this if we just don't get frozen. So Dugong, easy, one-shot KO. Cloyster, not as bulky in the special department as it is in physical defense. I mean, a 204 stat is just crazy. One shot there, and we're going to go into Slowbro. One shot there. Now, if we can just get through Jinx without getting frozen, I think this is a victory. Now, Jinx gets a critical hit, but it's not going to be enough. Razor Leaf on Lapras, and Lapras barely doesn't fall, but Lorelei goes for a Super Potion instead of Blizzard, and we pull off that win. I think we probably do win that fight 6 times out of 10 at least, for sure. I mean, We could have also went up to level 56 if needed over a damage rounding threshold, and that might actually have helped a little bit with damage range there. So coming into Bruno, I'm actually going to teach Venusaur Sleep Powder. I think this is going to be very much useful against Agatha because I need some way to set up, because I'm going to need to set up with either Sword Stance or Growth. I need some kind of a way to get through her Ghost and Poison types. So that's just, there's no way around that. So we're going to finish trivializing Bruno, get through that, and now we need to head into Agatha and see how this goes. Leading with the Gengar, I'm going to go for Sleep Powder, and I think this is kind of where that point in the run where I was like, yeah, this is kind of where Venusaur starts to kind of drop off. I mean, we have no way realistically of winning this fight. Even at level cap, what are we going to do? We have a Golbat that we could use the likes of Body Slam against, but it's the only Pokemon besides Arbok that is going to make sense. Grass moves are 4 times resisted by the Golbat, so that I just, you know, it's so tough. So the first turn I actually tried going Mimic Lick, and I actually think I made a mistake there because I think that Lick is a special type move in this generation, and in my head I was setting up for Sword Stance. Now correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's how it works. But I tried out Lick, didn't work, I ran out of PP. I may have been doing that strategy wrong, let me know if I should have been using Growth over Sword Stance. Anyway, so I switch up my strategy, I teach Solar Beam instead, and this is kind of where I just have to, this is just going to have to get docked 10 points for this fight. My best setup is Sleep Powder, Growth, and Solar Beam for this fight. Solar Beam is the best, most powerful move that I have that will affect ghost types, so I don't really have any other choice. Going to level cap isn't going to make much of a difference because everything's resisted, and you know, these Pokemon are pretty well off specially, so that's how I get past Agatha's with Youth of Growth, Sleep Powder, and Solar Beam. Now coming into Lance, my best bet here is to use Hyper Beam to get through here, which isn't really too consistent, quite honestly. Now, I know that there's a 10% chance to miss, and I should have went and got the PP ups, but I was way too lazy, and I was so lazy I didn't even want to just hack them in, you know? I was just like, I don't feel like it. So the main issue against Lance is his Aerodactyl. I don't outspeed it, which is a problem. But realistically, looking back at it, I know on the first attempt, had I set up using Sword Stance and Growth, I potentially could have boosted my speed over 170. And it's here, right in this very, as I'm speaking in this clip on the screen here, I'm 3 speed lower, and I think if I'd have just set up a little bit of Growth, I could have boosted my speed faster than the Aerodactyl, and then I don't have to worry about it going for Fly, or because if it goes for Fly and I miss Hyper Beam, I'm cooked essentially, because Hyper Beam is my only damaging move, and it's kind of where the limited move pool of Venusaur comes to kind of bite it. So I come back in at level 60. Now I'm confidently outspeeding the Aerodactyl. I've got better damage ranges. I'm over 2 damage running thresholds, and the win condition here is just to not miss Hyper Beam. So it'll take out the Aerodactyl with 3 uses of Sword Stance, taking my attack all the way up to 800. But if I missed Hyper Beam, I had to just reset because I was too lazy to get a PP up. So yeah, coming out of the Elite Four, we've got 45 for Lorelei, 45 for Bruno, 35 for Agatha, with the unlucky win, having to use multiple uses of Sleep Powder along with Solar Beam. It's a really inconsistent fight, but Venusaur has no better options in its arsenal. And then finally Lance, that's going to be a 40 out of 45. Having to rely on Hyper Beam isn't consistent when you have to use it to KO every Pokemon. So, into the champion. Okay, coming in here, I've got Swords Dance, Hyper Beam, Mega Drain, and Sleep Powder. Mega Drain for a little bit of recovery going into this fight. There's a few Pokemon I can use this on, mainly Sand Slash as well as Cloyster. So as you see, that Mega Drain after setting up with Swords Dance is a one-hit KO. We're going to go Hyper Beam on the Alakazam. It takes it down. Now Exeggutor, I don't have anything good for it, so I'm going to just go Hyper Beam. Luckily, we have the range to take it out with our boosted attack. Magneton, kind of the same thing. So we're going to Hyper Beam. It is enough. And then Mega Drain on the Cloyster. I didn't really need to, but I wanted to save my 2 uses of Hyper Beam because if I miss, I do want another chance. So that, we have the champion. Pretty easy. Venusaur actually kind of steamrolls the champion. Really, I said Venusaur would run into some roadblocks. Really, it's kind of just Lance and Agatha. Agatha more so because it has no way of dealing with ghost types. Nevertheless, we've got through the game at level 62. Venusaur didn't do too bad. Now, calculating in all of Venusaur's bonuses, we've got 6 points for coverage, minus 8 points for weaknesses. Resistances, we have plus 8 points. Those will cancel each other out. Finish level, we finished at 62, so plus 3. That'll do good there. And then for base stats, for the grass typing, we have 4. So in the grass category, Venusaur gets a final score of 514 out of 583. That will be at 88.16%, placing it in the B tier. Now, when we head over to the poison types, Venusaur is going to get a base stat bonus of 5, only giving it 1 extra point in that category. So we're going to get a similar score, 88.34%, placing it in the B tier. Now, when we filter for all Pokemon in Generation 1, we do get a score of 527 because the average base stat total in Generation 1 for all 151 is 342, and Venusaur gets some extra bonus points due to it having a base stat total that it has. With that, it will push it into the A tier just barely with a score of 90.39%. And that is where Venusaur finishes today. Taking a look at the tier list, it places just behind Aerodactyl, and it's pretty close between those two. They're pretty close, but yeah, we've got Aerodactyl, we've got Venusaur, Aerodactyl, and Machamp sitting in the A tier. So ready for some more good Pokemon. Next up, I believe we have, who do we have next? We have Articuno. That should be a good one. I think we have another contender for an S tier placement in Articuno. It has really good coverage. It doesn't really struggle against anything in the game, and I think it'll have a great time. So I do appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for the next one. We got Articuno coming up, and I'll see you then.